Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Once again, it's great to have you in studio today. We're back to talk about the quarter-cent jail district sales tax extension. And we've got Supervisor Tom Thurman in studio and Yavapai County Assistant County Administrator Jack Fields. Welcome back to studio.
Good morning. Thank you.
And we're going to talk jail district sales tax. It's coming up for an extension vote. In case anyone's wondering, early voting began on April 18th, which was yesterday, Wednesday. Ballots will be going in the mail next week, April 23rd, so it's a vote-by-mail ballot. So everyone in Yavapai County that is a registered voter, voter registration has ended. If you're a registered voter, the ballot's going to come to you in the mail sometime next week. If you don't get it by the end of next week, the week of April 23rd, then you should contact the county recorder and find out what happened with your ballot there. And then all ballots are due by 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 15th. At that moment in time, we'll find out if we're going to have an extension of the quarter-cent jail district sales tax, which is a mouthful. Let's get right into it. It's set to expire. When did it start?
Well, it started, we noticed back in the late 90s, and I was really not part of the county then. My dad was a planning and zoning commissioner for like 17 years, so I was involved with the county. But they noticed that back in the late 90s that there was a horrible overcrowding in the Prescott jail, which at that time was really the only jail. And all the municipalities, there's 9 of them in Yavapai County, when they arrested somebody, they had to either haul them over and book them in our facility, or some of them had smaller booking. They had 2 or 3 jail cells in their own facility, and then they would take them from there over to the jail. It is a state mandate that the county runs the jail system. Well, that jail was horribly overcrowded. And so it was getting to the point that the feds and a lot of other agencies were going to come down and start fining us. We were going to have to start hauling people to Flagstaff or Phoenix. And so, of course, that's cost prohibitive. And so they decided to create a jail district. And so they went to the voters in '99 to create this jail district that all 9 municipalities in the county now would pay a sales tax, a portion of a sales tax, everything that we buy today, a quarter cent. And of course that's, for today, a $4 cup of coffee, that'd be 1 penny. Well, it went over well. In fact, it was almost unanimous. I mean, it was in the 78, 82 percentile passed. And so the jail district was created. Now the municipalities didn't have to book their own people anymore, and they didn't have to pay when we booked them for them and held them. So it worked out well. And as we know today, a lot of the municipalities, especially because of the public service retirement systems fiasco, if you will, are hurting. They really are. And the county has a big debt on that too. And so to go back to the way it was is not good. And not only would it create a problem with the county and probably end up raising your property taxes, because we've stretched the dollar so far already, we just can't stretch it any further. It would also make the municipalities, especially ones that have property taxes, they're going to have to go up. And maybe their sales tax is going to have to go up. So these are all things that are all negatives. And so what happened at that time was to build a new jail, which we built the new jail. Nobody wanted in their backyard, if you will.
It's pretty tough to get a jail going.
It is.
Yeah.
That and a refuge dump, if you will. And so here, Cottonwood, they didn't want it. Prescott didn't want it. A lot of places didn't want it. And I still believe it was a mistake. I think with 2/3 of the crime being committed on the other side of the mountain, and we hate using that nomenclature, but it is what it is, it should have been built over there or somewhere more centralized. Well, they picked Camp Verde. Some of the ranchers over there got together and they sold the property very reasonable to the county, and they built a new jail. Well, they bonded to build that new jail, and that bond has since been paid off. Well, in the old days, we had room in there for people. And ICE came along and they started, the federal government system and Immigration Customs Enforcement, that we would hold prisoners for them, if
right.
you will, or detainees.
This is when Steve Waugh was sheriff.
Steve Waugh and all of that. And actually, it was we were doing okay with it. But because the population of this county is continuing to go up and up and up, and crime has gone up and up, and it's you know, I think someday everybody will be in jail by 2100.
Oh, I can't wait.
And so the jail was built. It's been paid for, and now we have no room for ICE detainees. We have no room for the people that we have in there. We've created every kind of, and Jack will talk about some of the diversion programs that we're doing. We have done everything we can to keep the population in the jail down, and it's working. But we can't bring in other detainees, and so this quarter-cent jail tax, if it doesn't get extended another 20 years, because it took place in 2000, and so it's sunsetting in the summer of 2020. If it doesn't take place, I'm in a very bad position here. This county has done a great job on keeping property taxes down. We have one of the lowest rates in the state, and I don't want to raise that. We are allowed to, even though there's been some Proposition 13 type of bills like they had in California, we've been allowed to stay down lower than what our max could be. And at this time, we're about $10 million below what we could really legally charge folks on their property taxes. And I don't want to do that either. And so this quarter cent is imperative that it passes, that we don't do that, that municipalities don't go back the way it was.
How was it? Let's talk about that a little bit, because I was kind of curious about that before. If I were arrested, say, in the city of Cottonwood would have to pay my room and board once I go to the jail, correct?
Yes, unless it was a felony.
Unless it was a felony.
Unless it was a felony.
Okay.
Yeah. And the bulk of them are not felonies.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's very expensive. I think Prescott Valley was about $1 million. It would cost them now a year. Prescott is about $750,000. Cottonwood's about, I think it was $600,000.
Okay.
Sedona, and it just goes on and on and on.
But that money is, it's not just me going into jail and getting booked into jail and it's done. I mean, the entities are having to, the municipalities are having to pay for me for every day that I'm in there.
That's correct.
So if I'm in there for 2 weeks, what would that come out to these days, Jack? Can you fill us in on that, what the cost would be for something like that?
Well, there's a booking fee that you would have to, by the way, what were you arrested for?
Very serious.
Whatever.
It was a misdemeanor, I can tell you that much. Yeah.
So there's a booking fee when you first come in, and then there's a daily rate, and it's about $100 a day for that. And the total amount for all the municipalities we're estimating is about $2 million. Right now, the jail district sales tax generates about $9 million a year. So from the county's perspective, there's still a deficit even if the jail district tax goes away. By the way, a jail district, like a lot of districts, and sometimes people get a little confused about what it is, it's a special district, similar to a fire district or a wastewater district. Those are government entities, special kinds of government entities that the law allows people to create in order to tax for a particular purpose. Like a fire district is strictly for fighting fires. A wastewater, a special district, a domestic wastewater improvement district is taxes for the purpose of building a wastewater system. This is a district that's designed to raise money to finance a jail. So the extension, the money that's raised through the extension, just like in the past, would need to be used for the jail. The county can't take it and say, oh, we're going to do something else. It would need to be used for the jail, and what it would be used for is the operation of the jail. This extension is not would not be used for to build a new jail, but it would be used for the operation as it continues to be now. Gotcha. And it generates about $9 million a year, which is about half the cost of the jail system. The jail system costs about $18 million a year. The other amount comes from the county itself, and there's a little bit from special funds, but most of the other amount is general fund money. So even if this passes, it's not like the county's general fund is completely absolved of paying for for the operation of the jail.
Gotcha.
This is only about half of it, the extension of the jail district. But as you can see, if that goes away, it puts a huge hole in the county's budget as far as operating the jail.
Sure. We have to take a break, all right? Supervisor Tom Thurman in studio today, Yavapai County Assistant County Administrator Jack Fields as well. We're talking about the quarter-cent jail district sales tax extension. We're voting on that May 15th. Stick around, countywide back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here?
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you along. Dates to remember. First of all, website. YavaPaiJail.com is where you can go for more information about the quarter-cent jail district sales tax. We're going to be voting on whether or not it should be extended for another 20 years. April 18th was when early voting began, so you can vote early at the county annex buildings if you want to. Ballots will be going in the mail on April 23rd. It's an all-mail-in ballot election, so if you don't have your ballot by the end of the week of April 23rd, you should contact the county recorder and make sure they've got you on the list for a ballot. And then all ballots are due by 7 p.m. on May 15th, at which point in time, hour and a half later or so, we'll find out whether or not the jail district sales tax went in. We were talking during the break that the Red for Ed drive that's going on in the state right now for teacher salaries increases and the raises is actually going to possibly have an effect on this as well. Who wants to address that? I didn't even think about it.
I can take part of that.
Okay.
Down at the legislature every year, they have what they call sweeps. Trying to get their budget to zero out. We're not like the federal government, the state or the counties. We have to zero out our budgets. We can't use credit cards to do our day-by-day needs. And so the state has been sweeping a lot of our funds. There's programs that they started years ago, like a duck pool, and you wouldn't understand what it is. But it's just one thing after another. Our fuel taxes, our lottery funds. You know, I believe that the state, when it asked everybody if it was okay to have the lottery in Arizona, that you would get X amount of dollars back per capita in each county.
I remember that.
Remember all that?
Yeah.
And they've been sweeping it.
Her funds.
Her funds too. The same thing. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of different avenues that they've been sweeping on the counties. And it seems like they pick on the medium-sized counties a lot. And Yavapai County is a medium-sized. If you're over 200,000, you're considered a medium-sized county. And so we're picked on a lot. Now, Maricopa County is also picked on a lot, but they have huge pockets compared to us, you know, when you have 3/4 of the population of the state in that one county.
Sure.
So, but it's still tough for us. You know, I got to remind people that this county is the size of New Jersey. It's almost exactly the same square miles, just the county. And we only have a population of about 235, 240 right now at the most. And so we don't have a lot of money. Well, when the legislature and the governor do these sweeps, it really hurts our bottom line, our pocketbook here for us in northern Arizona. Including Coconino County and Gila and all the rest. And so what they're doing right now on the teachers, which I can tell you right now, my mother was a teacher, she was an educator, and they deserve it. I mean, by the time they go through all those schools, and most of them have student loans, and you go to work and you have a family and you're making, you know, $28,000 to $35,000 a year, you can't make that today. Right. You're not, you know, to put food on your table. Secondly, you're going to have both. If it's a husband and wife, they're both going to have to work. So and we are at the bottom of the list, if you will. You can argue which 47, 48, 49, or 50 in the states what we pay our teachers. And so this needs to change. I completely agree with that. Well, earlier this month, we were looking like we were going to get a lot of our funding back. They weren't going to sweep the fuel taxes anymore. We were going to get our lottery funds. We were going to get our duck pool funds. We're going to all these different things. We have juvenile detention that we have to pay a portion thereof, and now that's changed. When Ducey came out last weekend and said we're going to give the teachers a 20% raise. We're going to do 10 this year, 5 next, and 5 the following. That's great, and I was happy to hear that, and the teachers are happy to hear that. But everybody's going, show me the money. So where's the beef?
We're sweeping it, huh?
Well, and so there's some programs that they're looking at, and of course then the medium counties are right at the top of the list of getting those sweeps to continue again. And if that happens, it just makes the situation more imperative that the jail tax is extended, because we don't have the money.
If it doesn't pass, Jack, what's the scenario if it doesn't pass?
If it doesn't pass, it puts about a 50% hole in the budget of the jail, operation of the jail. Like I said, about half of the money comes for the operation of the jail comes from the jail district sales tax. The other half comes from the general fund. What needs to happen is money from the general fund is going to have to move over for the operation of the jail. It's a basic function of the county. You can't get rid of it. You can't pass it to anybody else. It is a basic function of the county. Some money will have to come from, some of the money will be made up from the municipalities. We'll start charging them for people that they're booking in jail. That's probably going to have the effect of raising their taxes and probably have an effect on their willingness to put people in jail, which could affect public safety. One of the nice things about the jail district sales tax is because it's a sales tax, it is charged to visitors as well. And we conducted a study, and it shows that 17% of the jail district sales tax actually comes from visitors to this county. That's opposed to a property tax, which is just simply people who live in this county.
You kind of forget about that. Sure.
Yeah,
okay,
you do forget about it. And we got that verified through Arizona State University in a recent study done in 2016. 17% of the money from sales tax comes from out of county visitors, both to Prescott and particularly here in the Verde Valley. There's a lot of money generated by tourist dollars. So the big problem is going to be we're going to have to find money from the general fund to finance the operation of the jail. It's going to hurt a lot, and Supervisor Thurman, one of the things I know that they would need to consider is raising the property taxes in this county.
And then it's going to trickle down to the individual cities and towns too. I would imagine each city and town is going to have to deal with that as well, because if, as you mentioned, as that cost is dropped back on them, then they've got to find a way to raise that money up. And then you also mentioned something else that was interesting, that maybe, I know this is one of the concerns too, is that maybe as a police officer, if I pull somebody over and I decide they need to go to jail, maybe it's not such a bad offense, and maybe I don't want to send them to jail because it's going to cost my city or town money. So that's something to think about too.
Well, if the offense isn't that bad, under normal circumstances, they should be asking that question anyway. Sure. But what we don't want is it costs too much to put this person in jail, because now you're not taking into account, do they belong in jail? Are they is the community going to be safe if I don't put them in jail? Is justice being served? You're not looking at justice, you're looking at money.
You don't want to have to think about that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. We have to take another break. Okay. YavaPaiJail.com is the website to go to for more information about the quarter-cent jail district sales tax. The vote is May 15th. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Welcome back to Countywide. About a minute and a half left in the program. Those dates for you again and a website for you also. If you've got questions about the quarter-cent extension of the quarter-cent jail district sales tax for Yavapai County, go to YavaPaiJail.com. All the information about the jail is there as well as the tax. Early voting is underway, so you can do that at your county recorder's office at the County Annex Building, both in Prescott on Fair Street, here in Cottonwood on 6th Street. And then the ballots will be going in the mail on the week of April 23rd, which is next week. So watch for the ballots. If you don't get one and you're a registered voter, contact the county recorder's office and find out what happened. And then all ballots are due by 7 p.m. on May 15th, and you can drop those off at the county elections office. There's white mailboxes outside the county buildings. You can drop them there. And cities and towns also have their own special election boxes at city and town halls, so you can drop those off in there as well. But they have to be in by 7 p.m. May 15th in order to count. Any last statement to make in the last minute here?
Yeah, the mistake for a lot of people still believe that this sales tax extension is to build a new jail in Prescott. It is not. It is just to run the existing jail that we have in Camp Verde.
It's just to keep going.
That's just to keep going.
There's not a new tax. This is
that's a new conversation years down the road, but it will come back, I'm sure, someday. But right now, this is just to keep this jail going. And so I plead and beg everyone, please vote yes on this.
And we built the new jail because the Prescott jail is antiquated. It is not. It's not up to standards. You can't.
It's a holding cell.
It's a holding cell. It's a big holding cell anymore because it's just gotten so old. All right, I think that's all we got time for. Supervisor Thurman, thank you so much for coming
in.
It. We'll see. We've got about a month, right? And then we'll know.
About a month.
About a month, and then we'll know. All right. That's today's Countywide. Again, YavaPaiJail.com is the website. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.